Welcome to RCS. I'm Nick.
Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Wow. That's the I was like, wait a minute. No, you're not.
I was just trying to throw Nick off.
I don't get I don't want to be Dan. It's way too much work to be done at the farm. I want to be Nick again.
You have internet.
Exactly. Yeah, well, who knew that was a bargaining chip these days?
And a really cool toolbox.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll see. As always, we are brought to you by Avance, Carter Subaru, Drivers Club, Griot's, the official car care sponsor of Rain City Supercars. It's RCS 10 for 10% off your order. Haggerty, Rainier Beer, America's Automotive Trust, and Salvo Design. Did I do it? Did Dan do it right?
Close enough.
Okay, yeah, exactly. It's so funny because I read through that stuff, and I've used our code a couple of times, and I'm like, and I had to think about it when the first time I was ordering something. I was like, what's our code? Like, I was like, I know we say it all the time, but
it's very difficult.
Well, no, and that was the thing is I was like, I don't think it's not RCS 10. I swear it's something else. So, yeah, but yeah, how are you?
Oh, really good. Really good. Yeah. It's been a low-key kind of week, or weekend, I should say. It was a very low-key weekend for us. Just hung out.
You just hung out at Home Depot?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. A lot of Home Depot.
You will get to the point where I got to that point many, many years ago with my ex in Redmond. I got to the Home Depot, and I knew everybody in all the departments because we were there so much. So it's wonderful. You get a lot better service. So. I
needed some, what are they, 1x3s for a Target stand.
Oh, okay.
So I intentionally was trying to find the bad lumber. Yeah. I'm like, I don't care. It's just 1x3. And he's like, are you sure you want these?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. And he goes, well, I'll give you one for free. It was like, buy one, get one. I'm like, thanks. They're $3 for two as is. So I
Thank you for saving me 50 cents on that. Well,
it was nice, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just in case you don't know, we are actually recording from Dan's deck, and so if you hear some chirping in the background, it's Dan's hummingbirds.
Yeah,
I was telling people I went to Exotics this weekend, and they're like, "Where's Dan?" I'm like, "He bought a farm," and then I think they always think I'm a fan. I'm like, he's so obsessed with these hummingbirds, and it's so stupid. I'm like, but then you go out there and you put one of the little flowers in your hands, and then you're mesmerized, and I get it. Can I take one home, Dan? Can I?
Well, there's 13, so probably.
Oh, good Lord.
I count the whole Brady bunch, try and get it right. Like,
okay.
Because I work out on the deck a lot. Like when it's a nice day, even when it's not, it's all undercover. So it's fun to watch. And then I try and count them because they look a lot alike and they're very tiny, so it's hard to tell. But 13, I think, is a solid number.
Minus that one with the really blood red head. I like that one. That's my favorite. Yeah.
I named
Eddie.
Ruby.
Is Eddie? Oh, Ruby. Oh, Ruby or Eddie or whatever.
Yeah. It's a ruby-throated hummingbird, and that's very generic. But it works.
That works.
She's works.
Pretty. Yeah, she's pretty. She's my favorite hummingbird. She hums the best. Yeah.
It's a fun day.
Yeah. So I think I went to Exotics this weekend, and they had they did a great job, by the way. I want to congratulate them all. They had the Cadillac V Club in there, which, by the way, is not for virgins. I do not find that funny, although a lot of people were saying it. And they were showing off two of the new Cadillacs. Actually, I think they premiered it in Monterey, and then they made their way up here, and then I think they were at Drivers Club. But I will say this. Cadillac is not an old man's car, and those cars, one was a manual mated to a twin-turbo V6, and the other one was basically a V8, and they were slick-looking cars.
Yeah, they're really nice inside.
Yeah, I was like, it's not the old days. Like, there were some of the old school, like, Boss Hog Cadillacs there.
That's cool, though.
19 feet long, and so really cool, though. I'm glad to see somebody still, as they say, # save the manual.
I was hoping they'd bring it back in a Avant.
Yeah. With the price of those and looking at, those are hard to find.
$100,000 wagons now
with the miles.
Yeah, with the miles for a CTSV wagon and a manual. Like that's besides like a 59, that's probably destined to be one of the most collectible Cadillacs ever.
Yeah, like get you to the store and back as fast as you want.
Supercharged 6.2. Yeah, I wish I'd bought one at the time. I've always wanted one. It was just
That was the Corvette engine, right? It's
the ZR1, the C6 ZR1 motor.
Because why not put that in a wagon?
Yeah. No, I saw the previews. It looked like a Drivers Club got a bit of a sneak preview more than anybody else. They had them there for a while, too, which was really cool. So.
Yeah, I was impressed. Like I said, they looked good. I feel like they're going to sell well, and I feel like this. What I truly feel like it's going to be those people that own Corvettes that they're going to get a daily driver. It's like, well, why not get something with the same engine?
Right? So. Yeah, and the ATS-V was really nice, and the last CTS-V, they've been really nice since the CTSV came about. I mean, even the very first gen was still kind of that old school C5 Corvette level of quality, so it wasn't quite there yet. But for America at the time, that was really progressive.
Yeah.
And they've gotten better and better and better. So I am a fan. I'm driving them. I know the ATSV was supposed to compete with the BMW, and it didn't quite do that. But at the same time, I think it's a better street car than the BMW. Just my own personal preference, because the BMW is faster all around. It's nicer, more refined. It's a BMW though, so you'd kind of expect that. But the ATS had a little more room. It was an easier car to drive. I actually liked it better.
I don't know. Weird. I don't know. And this is coming from somebody with a previous owner. I don't know if BMW ever was the ultimate driving machine. Like there were some days, like when they first introduced the M3 back in the.
I'd say the E30 M3.
Yeah, I mean, epic.
The 6 Series.
Yeah.
The M6 when it came out. I mean,
but they have serious competition. I mean, not only just from Audi and places like that, but like you said, Cadillac coming in.
Yeah.
It's gonna be big.
I hope so. I mean, Cadillac's been fighting that fight for a long time and having a hard time with it. But I mean, it's their marketing. It really is. GM has seems to have a really far hit or miss. They don't do a lot in the middle. Like their trucks are terrible right now and have been forever. And I don't know why they can't figure that out. Not because they're bad quality, but just compared to what they're competing with. Like if you look at the Raptor, like or any off-road version of anything other than Chevy, it's pretty good off-road. The Chevy just got bigger and lower.
Does Chevy have anything besides their smaller truck?
The Trail Boss.
The Trail Boss. Oh, that's right.
Which is sort of don't get me wrong, it's a really nice truck for what most people use their trucks for. But if you're actually looking for an off-road truck, that's kind of the last of the list.
Yeah, but luxury-wise, I don't think I would choose a GMC or Chevy. I mean, like when you look at some of the Rams, and I mean, they're gorgeous. And some of the F-150, like the King Ranch and stuff like that.
Say Dodge had the interior win until the brand new F-150 came out.
Yeah.
Like Dodge really was admittedly leap years ahead of my Raptor, but the new one is gorgeous inside.
And Ram is still under Dodge, right? Like because it's not a Dodge Ram anymore. I had some guy gladly tell me that down in Monterey. It was rather apparently I wasn't the first person to say it, because I literally complimented him on his Dodge Ram, and he's like, "It's a Ram," and I'm like, "Okay,
cool."
So the second part of what I said, nice Dodge Ram, is it's got it. So
did you? I mean, that's.
People are passionate. This was a really nice Ram. Like this had every bell and whistle, dually. It was beautiful, but and he was obviously hauling cars. But
the T-Rex is freaking sweet.
Yeah, if you want to pay $30,000 over sticker right now or something like that.
Yeah. They're ridiculous in price, but they're really nice trucks too. They really are. They're heavy, but they're.
Do you think they'll do performance wise as good as the Raptor?
I think they are. Well, they're over the Raptor now. I mean, they're a truck that does 0 to 60 in 4 seconds is nuts.
But it's the Raptor was never about its speed. It was about being able to go over the whoops and go through the desert.
Which I mean, I think it competes with that. Although it's super heavy, so it's going to be nose heavy. But at the same time, I think the new Raptor R is coming, or whatever they're going to call it.
I don't know. The reason
I say $100,000 Raptor's coming, and I think it's going to just destroy the T-Rex.
My point is, I look at all the T-Rex stuff I see right now, and the one thing that keeps coming up over anything is that you're looking around the engine and you see the T-Rex eating the Raptor, which I get. But nobody's really talking about like, oh, I took it out in the desert and I beat it up. Like I've seen a couple of things but you see Raptor videos and they're like flying through the desert at 60 miles an hour coming off the road. I'm not seeing that with those Dodges yet.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough of them out there.
Yeah.
There's barely any left. And the Raptors have their own problems still. The rear leaf springs are terrible on them. If you do that heavy whip stuff you see on all the commercials, you'll flatten those leaf springs. They call them the coil packs, even though it's not coilovers. The coils of the spring packs.
Packs of springs, yeah.
It's the spring pack, and those things they're absolute garbage quality from Ford. Ford should be ashamed of that. And so everybody does a Deaver 2 or 3 inch conversion in the rear. That actually makes it ride a lot better too. And so that's, I don't know. It's still a Ford truck. I'm not above that. Like the door trim fits terribly. Like they got way better in 2023.
But it's carbon door trim now. So it's
No, not the carbon insert. Like that's a stupid overpriced option too. But I mean like the way the plastic fits around the door, like I mean it is what it is. Yeah. But it's still the best out of the box truck I think you can buy.
I'm starting to see a bunch of people taking delivery of their Broncos on the internet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen them driving around.
Was it TRT? Those off-road guys? They've got one that was on the Rubicon. Beating the crap out of it, which was really cool to see. So soft top too.
Yeah, I've seen them driving around.
I've seen the sports. I haven't seen any of the.
No, I've seen the new ones.
Okay,
there's the dealership in Issaquah. is it Evergreen? I don't know what it is now. The Issaquah Ford dealer has sold a few.
Yeah.
The early delivery guys, God knows what they paid for them. But, I mean, around here, is anybody really surprised?
No. Well,
Microsoft and Amazon in the backyard.
You said, or somebody said that there was one that was a used one that's on the market right now with 292 miles for like, its base model for like $75,000 or $80,000.
Completely base, 4-cylinder. Yeah. True Bronco.
You'll get all your money out of that. That'd be fine.
Well, all the hard tops were recalled, so that's interesting.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They were delaminating.
Oh, that's bad.
So they're not like leaking. They just, the finish wasn't holding up, which, again, I will never buy a first-year almost anything. I don't care who's making it. I won't buy a first-year Porsche.
Yeah.
They're pretty much as good as it gets for quality, but I just am not a first-year buyer. All these little things tend to pick up. I'm always a Gen 2 of that gen. So
yeah. I'm really liking the Ranger. My mindset right now is Ranger.
That's a great mindset to be in. I think that's a great truck.
And I'm looking at what people are doing. I mean, there's that one, and I hate to bring up their name, but the Daily Driven Exotics, their guy that follows them has got one. He's done a Raptor kit on it, and it's wider than a Raptor.
Yeah,
which is funny to me.
Well, the Ranger Raptor, the Thai and rest of the world one, isn't like our Raptor. Like it doesn't correlate like the F-150 Raptor. It's the same motor. It's just suspension and a few other tweaks and tunes. Which
is it wider?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it's just flares. It's not like a whole new truck. So the fully off-road package Ranger, is it the FX4 in that? I forget what it's called. But anyway, it's actually a really, really capable truck, and it's really nice inside.
Yeah,
I would get one. I still want a small truck sometimes because mine's so big.
I want a truck, period. I mean, I love the Crosstrek, but I have gone past the limit of what I want to do with it. So
you need a low range.
I do.
You need a four-wheel drive and a low range.
And I need lonkers.
Your Subaru has proven to be far more capable than I have ever thought it would be.
We've taken a lot of places it shouldn't have been. Yeah.
That thing, it always makes me laugh still when we go out and how capable it is. But
as well, yeah.
But eventually you get to the point of off-roading where a low range is just irreplaceable.
Yeah. And that's the one thing, especially in the manual. It's you just can't crawl with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What else we got going on? Oh, I got the truck done. I had Andy from Vogue. I had my winch finally installed. I just
look at you being part of the common folk, not doing your own installs.
I know. I don't have the shop ready yet.
What else did you have to do?
I had So I had the winch installed, Warn VR12S Platinum, which you can feel with the Swarfworks kit in the front of the truck with a bracket for that. It goes between the frame rails, and I probably added 200-ish pounds in front of the front axle.
Are you feeling it like when you're driving and the
It's a little more floaty.
Okay.
It's definitely a little lower in the front, maybe like half an inch, because it's got the adjustable shocks, the factory ones, the magnetic ride shocks, Fox ones, but it's not as bad as it could be, but you notice the weight up there, and you definitely feel it when you hit the brakes. I need to probably put spacer collars in the front and 3-inch springs in the rear.
Because you haven't done the rear kit. We were talking about it earlier, but you haven't done that spring kit.
No, I need to do that.
Again, pack or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'll probably have Andy from Vogue Auto Works do that too.
Is that who did the front? Okay.
Yeah, and he does. I went to Andy. He's not an Avance partner, but he does more Raptors than anybody I know. And so, while this is a pretty standard job on a Raptor and a very popular kit, he's probably done 100 of them. So I had him do that and the Baja Designs lights, and
it looks so clean. Like it you wouldn't know. It doesn't look like it. If you didn't know what the winch was, it looks stock.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want something that was really out there, but the people who know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I wanted. And put the Baja Designs, not fogs. They're the white flood beams in the front, and yellow, which are really nice at night. So it
is. I mean, as simple as it is, when I put the yellow covers over my fog lights, it made so much of a difference as far as seeing at night, which is nice. But
better depth perception too.
Yeah,
so that's nice.
Yeah, especially for us old fogies.
Yeah. So we had a couple of Carter Subaru tips of the week we should go over.
Yeah.
We had the one from last week was talking about insurance replacing car parts with aftermarket parts or used parts, things like that. But I got a request. Somebody messaged me directly. And I said I promised them that I would follow through on this one, so I'm going to follow through.
OnlyFans has no more porn, so you can't do it. So yeah.
So I went to another request.
Not that they ever did. Okay. Yeah.
Some people are going to have to get a job now,
right? We're going to see a lot. Somebody goes, "We're going to see a lot of waitresses coming back to work.
No more work from home."
I can't use my feet anymore to make a living. Okay, you can cut that out. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm leaving. That's funny.
Yeah.
People got to take a joke.
Yeah.
No, she got a ticket at the Bravern and parking ticket.
Okay.
And so she said, what is it like a red light ticket? Because it's not issued by a law enforcement thing. How does it go on my driving record? What does it affect? Things like that. And so the short answer is tickets don't go on your driving record unless you don't pay them and they're issued by the city.
Yeah, it's a parking ticket. Like she wasn't speeding around the Bravern.
Right.
Okay.
So you can eventually go on your driving record if you get tons of parking tickets and you don't pay them. But what actually
that's through the city.
That's
not
through the
like
city.
Diamond.
Not like Diamond.
Yeah.
So it varies by service. I did a lot of Googling on this to figure it out. So if you have like a parking service that monitors your parking lot, like Republic, Diamond, or one of those, they're pretty good at getting paid. You don't pay one of those, they're going to send it in to collections most of the time. They might, and this is a big might, let you go on your first one. If you don't pay the first one, depending on where you're at, depending on how popular the parking area is, you might get a pass and they'll just let it go. You can go in if it's like 10 minutes and you can actually just call them and say, messed up, here's my 10 minutes. They might just, if you're nice, they will often the times just give you a pass. Well, they'll give you a one-time pass.
I can tell you that because when I lived at Washington Square and I parked at Diamond Parking every day. And there were times when I didn't put my pass up and things like that. And I knew the people there to the point where I'd call. And there is a certain point where they go, yeah, we're not letting you go anymore.
Right.
Like it's not.
Yeah. So that's what you should do, though, is if you are not a habitually bad parker who doesn't pay your parking, you can probably get a pass. If they don't know your car, if you're new to the area, call and explain your circumstances. And this is not like talking to a judge. You're just talking to somebody who's doing their job. Keep that in mind. Don't get mad at them. The person who on the phone has nothing to do with your ticket.
And it's probably somebody working from home in Spokane if it's Diamond.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but being really nice and simply saying, hey, I messed this up. Yeah. Sorry. Is there anything I can do? Especially if you're a really young driver, I'm just going to throw this out there, they're going to be a little more lenient on you. A lot of people can relate to how poor you are when you're just starting to drive and you spent everything in your car just to get to point A to point B. I
will say this, too, with Diamond. When you call in, the person you're talking to did not give you the ticket.
Yeah.
And it does you no good to get angry at them because they didn't. They've got some poor guy out there walking around in the heat writing tickets that just doing his job.
Yeah, exactly. If it's a private parking, though, as in they do not have a parking service. So Bravern, a hotel, a small hotel, not like a big hotel. Those will be contracted out.
Where did she get a ticket at the Bravern? You have to
retail
take
parking.
You have to take a ticket to go in, don't you?
Yeah, I think it was for parking too long in a spot. I don't know what the details are. But so those ones, though, they pretty much don't do anything. And the reason they don't is because they're not contracted out to another service. It costs them more to send you to collections than to get paid. Now, if you did this over and over and over again, even probably twice, they might. Because
you're going to be worth their while.
Yeah, they're going to be worth their while because then they can hit you with the ticket, the late fees, and the assessment charge, which they are in every right to do to make you pay for the fee to get collected from.
As long as it is posted.
As long as it is posted.
It has to be posted, yeah.
Yeah, and so... Not that you should lie to anyone because that's a bad thing to do, but claiming ignorance will get you very far with parking tickets if they are not clearly posted or if you're in an area where the sign has been shot 50 times in a small town or something.
Yeah.
You can probably just get away with it. I actually got away with this in Leavenworth. I really didn't realize I hadn't parked in a no parking spot.
Leavenworth is tough.
Well, the funny thing is their ticket system is like, send us your picture and pay us via PayPal. Literally.
Okay. So you sent them a picture of your best digit and you said, pay this?
No, I just didn't realize I was in a no parking spot. And I explained and they just let me go.
Well, look how long it took us to find parking for the monkeys that day.
Right.
I mean, that was...
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, if you're in any place that doesn't have their own parking service, it's not contracted out, it's going to be far more lenient, are also probably not going to do anything the first time you do it. And that's a probably. Like I said, there's no guaranteed, but chances are, wait for your second notice if they even bother to send one. If they don't have, and here's another, so if it's on your car, you technically didn't receive it because anybody could walk up to your car and take that off. So until you get something in the mail.
Yeah, the wind blew mine off.
The wind blew mine off. Yeah, I just didn't see it. Somebody could have taken it. There's nothing there.
We are not lawyers. Do not take this advice.
Yeah.
I will also say this. If it is a state run, like you're downtown or something, you get a ticket. Really, the worst thing that's going to happen, they might send you to collections, but where you're going to run into a problem is when you go to re-register your car.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They will put a lien against your vehicle.
Yep.
Which is just like property. You can get a lien against your vehicle. You're like, you can't sell it. You can't renew it until you pay all your fees. And you know who else does that? Good to Go. If you're one of those people, like the first time you mess up your Good to Go, you don't change your address or something, you're going to get an insane bill because they'll just keep racking it up because Washington doesn't care about you.
Well, it's not just Washington. Do you remember? It was in 2018. We went across the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yep.
And I finally got a ticket from, or the letter from San Francisco Department or whatever, and it was $1,700 because they had been adding up the fees. Now, they obviously knew through the license plate how to find me, but they chose not to for a year and a half. And it was funny because I got it after we had gone across the bridge again in 19, and it showed up. And my dad and I were talking. I'm like, I haven't been there, like. But it was, and that was a long conversation too. But yeah, the toll system is really screwed up right now.
Yeah.
So especially 520 with everything that's going on, it's off.
Yeah. So anyway, beware of a lien on your car if you don't pay your parking tickets. Though you may think you're getting away with something, you're not.
Yeah.
A good collection company knows exactly what they're doing when it comes to unpaid parking tickets, unpaid tolls, things like that. Just because it's not a moving violation, it doesn't go on your driving record, doesn't mean you're not going to pay out your butt.
Well, also, and I mean, we don't do it here, but I mean, there was a whole series about it in Philadelphia, like with the parking wars. Well, they'll come and boot your car if you have too many parking tickets, and your car's not going to go anywhere.
Yep.
Which is ironic, which just means you keep it in the spot you're at. Can they still give you a ticket if the boot's on the car, I wonder?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Like, you didn't move your car. I couldn't.
This is a good segue into our topic of the show today, which we kind of had some fun with. Let's
I laughed really hard watching that. So look at that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a bunch of research on a ton of those because I wanted to see how it was written, but we'll let you in on that when we get right back after this break.
We spend an average of 8 hours and 41 minutes a day facing screens. Laptops, smartphones, tablets, even digital refrigerators. But what are we really connected to? Isn't it time you connected to something greater? Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect. This moment of escape was created by Hagerty for people who love cars.
And we are back.
Everybody's back in their own bodies. I'm Nick. That's Dan. Yeah.
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 So I don't know how I stumbled across this.
It had to be one of those things that just kind of kicked up. It's like one of those like fun automotive facts or.
Yeah, I get a lot of, I guess, pushed RSS stuff to me about automotive stuff because I want to see what's new on topics. And there was a bunch of stuff. I mean, there's not actually. Let me take that back. There's not a whole lot of automotive news this week as far as like major things I saw.
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, everything's sort of come out on social media after Monterey and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, and so after Car Week, I was thinking about the tip of the week, and I was looking. Oh, that's how it was. I was looking up laws around parking tickets, and so this article popped up, which I thought was funny, and it was weird but true traffic laws. And I found this list on like 1,000 different websites. To be fair,
and these are still on the books. Like this is not.
Yeah, some of them have just been perpetuating like urban myths forever.
Yeah,
or some of them were repealed, and a lot of them are just how do we say this? Have you ever like articles that are written cleverly? Like the way they say it is clever, but the law actually makes a lot of sense. I'll get into that in a second here. So we found like the weirdest traffic laws by state.
Florida was a great one.
Isn't it always?
It's the one, and I kid you not. By
I found
law,
history behind that one.
You must feed the parking meter if you tie an elephant, goat, or alligator to it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't have a hard time seeing that in Florida today. Like, you feel like you could go to Florida and see somebody walking an alligator or an elephant. I mean, I think, isn't Carol Baskins from there? She had an elephant, didn't she? She used to have a husband, too, but, you know. Whatever.
So I found out how this law originated, actually. Okay. This is one of the few ones on this list that actually had a pretty extensive history. And while the whole thing is sort of a joke and always has been, but it was written at a time when people could take a joke, and that's why they did it. Back in 1927, Ringling Brothers Circus moved the company's winter operations to Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah.
And they used to run a parade through town. Mm-hmm. And as a joke, they would tie an elephant or an alligator or a goat to a parking meter, and it would be expired. And it was like part of the thing as a joke. And so they jokingly wrote a ticket.
They wrote a ticket for
to
it,
the elephant,
which it was,
which
puts a law on the book. Yeah.
And so they made it a joking law on the books, too, that you have to feed the meter. But it's stuck, and it hasn't been repealed. So don't tie your alligator to a parking meter.
I mean, the California one, it was a little bit weird in the fact that it's against the law for a woman to drive in a house coat. But, I mean, today's day and age, who has a house coat? who knows what they identify as anyways. I mean, maybe
house coat is, I looked this up, a house coat at the time it was written was the same thing as referred to as a long nightgown.
Sure.
That's what a woman's house coat was.
You
and
can't
so
go running out into the street and chase after your husband in your nightgown.
Right.
Okay, makes sense.
Which is funny because it's not even illegal to drive naked in Washington or Oregon.
I think one of them you can't change clothes while you're driving. I forgot what state that was. Oh yeah, Delaware. You should not change clothes in your vehicle.
That one actually has a really interesting history. So this is I
love that you dug into all this.
Oh, I dug into most of these because and a lot of them overlapped, and I figured out why. So this one is a really cleverly written law that goes under Public Indecency Acts. But the reason they wrote it that way is so you can't live in your car. It's illegal to live in your car in Delaware, so you can't stay parked. God
Small
wouldn't.
state.
What would Seattle would?
Oh, you could. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Don't hold back, Dan.
Yeah. Seattle would be dead in a day if we had that law. But yeah, that's how they stopped people from living in their cars in Delaware, which seems a little cruel maybe, but you can see how bad it goes when it doesn't if you look at downtown Seattle.
Do you know it's illegal to drive a black car on a Sunday in Denver? Apparently, that's a thing.
Yeah, where's the Colorado one? Okay, yeah. So I looked this up. This is a funny one, actually. There is a Channel 7 reporter who does traffic in Denver who wrote a story about this. And his story is how he tried to find this. He called everything from the Supreme Court down to try and track down this law that's been circulating forever. It is entirely not true. And he spent the article is extensive with everyone he called. He went to law libraries to try and find this law. He went through RCWs, and everybody had heard of it as like a joke in the state, but it was entirely not true. So somebody started it as some internet myth. It did not actually.
I mean, Kentucky. I was a little miffed at the Kentucky one because now I'm not going to Kentucky anymore because it's illegal for your pet to molest a vehicle in Fort Thomas. So
yes,
we're not going to Kentucky. I'll tell you that right now because if my dog can't hump a tire, I'm out.
So there's the reason behind this law is interesting as well. What this does is transfers responsibility of damage to a vehicle to the owner of the animal. The reason this started is if you did a cattle drive through a town and it used to hit up against vehicles, it was now the responsibility of the farmer for all the damages that were caused by animals. It's also applied to not pets urinating in public. They wanted people to stay on the sidewalks, not let them pee on your car. It made people that had recourse for animals doing damage to cars is all there is to it, which I thought was kind of funny, but also actually probably a pretty decent law.
The Montana one has to be a joke, right? Like of all the Montana jokes, like that you cannot unless you have a chaperone, it's illegal to have a sheep in your truck. What if you're on a date? Is that a bad joke?
So this fell under the same law as I don't know which state it is. The one where it's illegal to have a gorilla in your back seat.
Yeah, I think that was that Minnesota? No,
where's that at?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Okay,
yeah, you cannot drive with a gorilla in your back seat.
Okay, so you
have to keep the gorilla in the front seat.
This is funny. So the Montana law differs a little bit. It's written under the same guys. So the gorilla one actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it, but not. It's weird how it's written. It's one of those things that they wrote it for buzzwords on the internet, but how the law is stated actually makes a lot of sense. It's illegal to transport a primate in a seat in your car. So back in the old days, actually, there's a funny story about this from what was it? I think it's Stuff You Should Know or maybe Damn Interesting, 2 podcasts I listened to, where there was a time you could literally order a chimpanzee via mail from a magazine. Well, I mean, this is like back in the 40s.
Michael had one. Bieber had one.
Yeah,
come on.
This is back in the 40s, though.
Yeah. Okay.
So like back when they didn't care about animals at all. And the reason they said you couldn't transport in there, the law is stated that you must transport an animal in an appropriate enclosure. And even though a primate could technically sit in a seat and under a seatbelt, if you've ever been around a monkey or even at the zoo, you do not want to see what goes wrong when a monkey goes mad.
Yeah.
Like, they will tear your arms off and beat you to death with them.
Well, and this actually brings back a story I wanted to tell you about Monterey because it's a story that you will remember quickly, as I said. We always do a drive in Monterey. Mm-hmm. And about 3 years ago, a gentleman showed up on a drive in his Ferrari, his black Ferrari, and it had stickers all over it. And I said, I remember Dan and I walked up to the car and we said, "Hey, your dog's in the car." And he went, "Nope, that's my wolf."
Yeah.
He was back this year. He did not have the wolf with him, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was
not a dog. It was a wolf.
It was a full-blooded wolf that just never let out of the car because it was a wolf.
Yes, and I want to go back to that Montana law about the sheep.
Yeah,
say with the chaperone, meaning that they have to secure the sheep. If it is your only way to transport the animal, like if you have a flatbed truck, because a lot of farm beds are flat, and you are doing an emergency transport, they found it more dangerous to not have the chaperone is there to make sure the sheep doesn't go nuts in the car. But you can hold on to a sheep or many animals in the front seat when it's your only option and carry them. So when they say it's illegal to transport a sheep without a chaperone, it's illegal to transport an animal unsecured that is not domesticated. You can transport a dog or a cat. Well, probably not a cat. That'd just be a terrible idea. But you can put a dog in your car and you're fine. Yeah. You can't do that with a barn animal or livestock.
Not that we ever did, but apparently we can still go whaling in Tennessee because it's illegal to shoot any game other than a whale from a moving vehicle in Tennessee. And we all know when those pods, when those hunchback pods go through Tennessee, it is so pretty when they're going through the countryside. But that's. Well, I mean, and that truthfully, and I didn't do research on this, but there's laws on the books on every state that you, especially like Alaska and stuff, you can't shoot from your car. Like, if you've ever watched Alaska State Troopers, they get people doing it all the time. That'll be driving and they'll see a deer. You're supposed to. You have to be out of the car and on the side of the road before you can take a shot.
Right.
And I see it. You're driving along, you see dinner, you shoot it. It's easier. So
they just come up to my deck out here.
That's different. You're not shooting them. Yeah.
Yeah, I read that. That is, many states it's illegal to shoot from your car. Period. It's illegal to hunt from your car is what it comes down to.
Hey, as far as Washingtons go,
this is one of the better ones.
I have a question.
It is true. I don't know how this was written. I tried to find it.
I'm trying not to make this political, but it's no way I can. It says a motorist with criminal intentions must stop at the city limits and telephone the chief of police as he is entering the town. Which makes me wonder, did Inslee call anybody before he came to Washington?
I, for one, welcome our new dictator.
Good God. So basically you got to call up the chief of police and say, look, I'm going to do bad things. And here I come. I'm at the city limits. I'm not really sure. Yeah. West Virginia, it's illegal to eat roadkill. What else do you eat in West Virginia?
No, it's legal, not illegal.
Oh, sorry, it's legal. It's legal to eat roadkill. Never mind, I read that wrong.
There's actually a place called the Roadkill Cafe in West Virginia. There are weird laws about that. Like you can't, if you hit a deer and you don't have you can't technically take it if you don't have a tag in some places, which is kind of odd to me. If you've already hit the deer, it's already done the damage. The least you could do is eat it. Yeah. I mean,
the one that I knew about, and I always thought this was great, was Texas, and the fact that you must have windshield wipers to register a car, although having a windshield is optional. You still have to have the wipers. You just can't. May not have a windshield. Which, if you've ever been to Texas, there are several vehicles that will drive around these swamp buggies that have wipers but no windshields.
Yeah, you have to have eye protection, but other than that,
that's the same thing like riding a motorcycle. You have to have a full face helmet, or you have to have sunglasses or things like that, which you want. Yeah.
The Alaska one on this list, talking about Alaska, is funny. Sure. It is not shooting from your car. And it is that it's illegal to tie a dog to the roof, to your car roof.
Yeah, but I get that.
Yep.
Because you're transporting like a whole sled dog team somewhere, and you got to put them some. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So this came down to not necessarily drive with it on your car. You cannot tie your dogs up on the roof of your station wagon. Which, if you've had any experience with sled dogs or you've seen them, they are more than comfortable to sleep when it's 0 degrees out. They are built for that. They're fine. The problem is the metal freezes and they freeze to the roof. Mm-hmm. This is an animal cruelty law, not because you're driving around with dogs on your roof, but because they will stick to the metal and hurt their paws. Really interesting.
And if you've ever seen National
That was a hard one to find. Really hard.
Vacation, you can't tie him to the bumper either. Little guy probably kept up to about 15, 20 miles an hour. Yeah.
One of the more interesting ones, like I actually had more fun researching this than I had just reading the one-liners because I really wanted to know where this came from. Arkansas has a really funny one. Sorry, David. That's my brother. Mm-hmm. Don't honk your car horn anywhere that serves cold drinks or sandwiches after 9 p.m.
That would be rude.
It would be, and it was. So when drive-thrus or drive-ins became the norm in small towns like Arkansas, which didn't really have a population until, I don't know, yesterday. Until
maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. There's most, small towns everywhere. You would come up to them and then honk your horn to get their attention. They'd come out and serve you. Mm-hmm. Well, as they stayed open later, this became annoying as hell because they would pull up and honk, 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 honk all the time, all night until they closed. And so they made it illegal to do that from after 9 p.m., so the quiet hours.
And a lot of those laws come from when the transition from horse-drawn buggy to cars. Like Mississippi, it's illegal to honk your horn because it might scare a nearby horse, which totally makes sense.
Yeah. So, moving around horses, that actually does make a lot of sense.
Missouri, you can't honk somebody else's car horn. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. Who would do that? I'm thinking, I've done that before. I've reached into a friend's car and honked the horn. Yeah.
Or passengers, crazy passenger with road rage. Yeah. I don't know.
In Nevada, this makes sense. It's illegal to ride a camel on the highway. I feel like that one came over from Abu Dhabi. So
there was a thing. I forget which state it's in. Maybe one of the listeners can tell me. I can probably find out. They tried to bring camels over to the U.S. in mass.
Yeah.
And I think it was Nevada or New Mexico that they did that. Like there was a thing where they tried to bring camels in because there weren't enough horses at one point. And that was one of the areas they could survive, was in the desert states, and that's what they were trying to do. And so they probably made it illegal to ride your camel on the highway, which makes sense actually, given the time it was probably written. A lot of these are dependent on the time they're written.
So this one's an old one, and I mean I've heard this too with Pennsylvania. And I'm going to read it slowly. When driving on a country road at night, you must stop every mile and set off flares or other warning signals and then allow 10 minutes for livestock to clear the road. That's going to take you forever to get through Pennsylvania. And I'm also seeing some poor Dutch guy coming down the road being like, why are there all these flares?
Why is everything on fire?
Martha, I think God is coming.
There was another one. Let me find it. Where's the one? Okay, Maine. This is not just Maine. This is many, many states. We'll get into this.
And then Rhode Island.
Okay.
Yes.
Maine. It is illegal to buy a car on a Sunday. Also,
Lord's Day.
These are called blue laws. I don't know why they're called blue laws, to be honest, but they're moral laws. And a lot of places you can't buy a car on Sunday. You can't do a lot of types of business on Sunday. You can't sell alcohol on Sundays. This is less and less common in small towns, but actually dealers are often pro this law because of how much it takes less staffing. Mm-hmm. And with the way more people do business online, this has come up recently, actually, is they don't want to be open on Sundays. A lot of them are closed Sunday.
Motorcycle places are definitely closed Sundays, Mondays too.
Yeah. And so that's a very common law in a lot of places. I found I actually ran into this when looking for my Raptor. Actually, because I looked at a couple in Colorado and they were all closed Sundays, hard closed. And here you're like, what? No dealerships are closed on Sundays. Everybody makes their money on the weekend.
It's a good day to go in and look at cars because they won't expect you to buy a car that day. Yeah. Rhode Island, it's illegal to ride a horse on the highway for the purpose of racing or testing the speed of the horse.
I'd imagine at the time that was written, that probably made a lot of sense.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Because, horses, if you don't know, and this is a very brief thing, horses on roads, there's different shoes and things like that, and they can be hurt. And I'm sure somebody hurt their family horse racing on the street before horsepower. How many horsepower you got? 1. So, yeah.
That is an interesting one. I did South Carolina, not that one. That's just you can't store you can't store trash in your car. You actually can't store trash in most states in your car. You have to have a trash bag.
Well,
which is true.
We're also not going to New Hampshire because apparently it's against the law to inhale bus fumes with the intent of inducing euphoria. Why would you even want to go to these states anymore?
So I did some research on that as well. This is another one of those buzzword-written internet ones. It is illegal to huff fuel for the sake of getting high.
It's also stupid.
It's stupid, really stupid.
Yeah. People die doing this, literally.
Yeah. I guess for me that kind of fits into the Darwin Award area. Like if you're dumb enough to huff fuel from a running vehicle, like to get high. I'm not joking about suicide. That's awful. But if you're just trying to get high by car fumes, maybe you had it coming. You're kind of on the bottom end of the, you're pretty much on your way out anyway. You've reached a new level of dumb.
This one I want to talk about too is Louisiana, and I think a lot of men died because of this. Because it's in Louisiana, a woman's husband is required by law to wave a flag in front of her car before she can drive it. And I'll tell you, you can't tell me that a couple of women didn't just put it in drive and just keep going. Oops, I killed him. He deserved it.
Yeah, It seems like Louisiana would be one of those old states that wouldn't let you get divorced back in the day.
Oh, of course not. Yeah, you just run them over.
Car rolled forward.
It happens. Yep. Yep.
They've come a long way, but I think I can imagine them like being back in the 40s when cars were first a thing. People saw this as a way out.
Yeah.
They probably had it coming.
You can't transport dead poultry in Kansas, which, I mean, makes sense, but like, does that like count as like a fried chicken? Like if you get one from the,
Yeah, I looked this up as best I could. As far as I could tell, this was specific to Topeka.
Okay.
I'm going to assume at some point, this is pure conjecture because I could not find the full backstory in this one, that there was probably some kind of poultry disease outbreak, and people were like when you take apples across a quarantine area, it's probably the same kind of thing. They didn't want to transfer diseases, and as that was probably a huge crop there. Not crop. What am I thinking? Livestock down there. Then
it's like transporting stuff around there. Yeah, and this is actually one. North Dakota is kind of interesting because I remember this as a kid. You're breaking the law when you put a penny in an automatic parking ticket machine. Because I remember back in Spokane when I was a kid, like that would break a machine. If you put
it jams it up.
It jams it up, which is. I get it. It's illegal, and if it's jammed up, the meter's broken. Therefore, you don't have to pay for the meter.
Exactly. So, that one actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Where's another one? There's
Ohio. It's illegal to run out of gas in Youngstown. I think it should be illegal to run out of gas anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. People shouldn't run out of gas ever. Yeah. I always have gas. Nobody said you had. Why are you?
Peanut gallery's getting looked at over here.
Exactly. I'm not looking at the peanut gallery. Yeah.
Just by me. I'm just joking. The peanut gallery would like to say it has never run out of gas. It's just come very, very close many, many times.
Actually, one that makes a lot of sense to me, and it's a state we love, is Wyoming. It's by law you must close a gate crossing over a road, river, stream, or ditch, or risk a $750 fine. This is big if you don't have cattle gates and things.
Oh yeah,
your livestock gets out or gets hit by a car. That's you're losing your livelihood. So
yeah, that's a good one. Oklahoma. This is another one of those that's pissed me off because a lot of these internet clickbait things, it's the way they write things. It's not what they are. It just says on here, and this list, like I said, is propagated on so many sites. I don't even know where it started. It says it's illegal to read a comic book while driving. Okay, the law states you cannot read while you're driving. You can't read a book. You can't read a comic book. You can't read the Bible. You can't read a newspaper. You can't read anything.
Tell the Tesla owners,
right?
I mean, I have seen some stuff here, but yeah. Tell you.
North Carolina, another one of the clickbait ones I've seen in this list. It's illegal to play in traffic. It's illegal to block a street.
Well, yeah, there was one that was illegal to read a newspaper in the middle of the street, too, or something like that.
It's just illegal to impede the flow of traffic. Yeah. That's another one of those. New York, it's against a law to disrobe in your car in Sag Harbor. Again, you're not allowed to live in your car in Sag Harbor.
Okay, so this is an interesting one on Oregon because, I mean, I think with the protesting going on down there, it may be brought up more often. By law, you must yield to a pedestrian when driving on the sidewalk. You can't run them over, apparently.
Well, they move into the turn lanes now.
I don't know how that works. If they're on the street, don't run anybody over.
There's nobody to enforce it anymore. So.
God. Try not to get political, but I agree. Yeah.
Oh, who cares anymore?
Virginia's. That's what I wanted to say. Virginia's the same way as Louisiana. Women are prohibited from driving a car on Main Street unless her husband is walking in front of the car waving a red flag. Again, a lot of people died in Virginia and Louisiana, rightfully. Okay. Probably the people that put these laws on the books.
Say Virginia back in the day.
Oh yeah,
was a very backward state.
Oh, what do you mean back in the day? Yeah, so I'm with you.
It's all, we talked this before. Virginia is one of the worst places to drive and get a ticket in the whole U.S. Like Virginia has like the highest ticket per capita than any other state in the U.S.
But isn't Virginia for lovers?
Yeah, lovers of state revenue tickets, yeah.
Vermont, it's illegal for cars to backfire in Rutland.
Rutland, yeah.
Yeah, and then what was the one that, Utah. By law, birds have the right-of-way on all highways.
I was trying to figure this one out.
I mean, we've all hit a bird.
Yeah. Many.
Joe ate one with his Audi.
Yeah, big time.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah, I stuck one to the intercooler of my RX-7 once.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you
find the source of this.
I don't know how you. I mean, I get it in the fact of like, especially if you hit like a big bird,
like a peacock or a pheasant or something.
I mean, but I don't know how you give right away. Like, I mean, honestly, it's like, I mean, if a duck is walking across the road, or
I think
a geese
that's
or
what it's got to be. It's got to be for migratory birds over there, or maybe maybe at some point, I don't know if maybe this is specific to a part of Utah, because maybe if there's a poultry farm area and they move them in mass, like if you've probably seen videos online of duck parades in other countries, where they're not parades, they're moving a bunch of ducks from one section to the other, and often they do it across roads. I'm assuming it's so people don't just get impatient and run over a bunch of ducks or geese or something, which would make sense. Like, hey, don't do that anyway. That's not nice.
It's interesting. New York, being the weirdest one, or being the weirdest state that I can think of, has the most on the books laws. It's against the law to disrobe in your car in Sag Harbor. Like, that's
another living in your car law.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, as far as New York goes, I know there's some weird stuff on the books there. So,
yeah, this is a fun one. New Jersey, frowning at a police officer against the law.
Everybody knows that.
Nobody's enforcing that one if you've been to New Jersey.
I feel like that's also one of those things, like, where you really piss off the New Jersey State Police, and that's one of those things they tack onto the end. Like, you frowned at us, and so it's an extra $60 or whatever. Yeah.
Can you imagine if they tried to pull off something like that here?
So we'd all be in debt to the. You talk about having to pay a ticket. Yeah. Be like, I have 17 frowning infractions with the Washington State Patrol. So
this Minnesota one I wanted to bring up, because this is actually, as far as I know, all 50 states. Minnesota says you're a public nuisance if you drive a truck in Minnetonka, that leaves mud, dirt, or sticky substances on the road.
Well, this goes to like mud flaps and tires outside the fenders.
Not just that. If you do a bunch of off-roading here, it's actually illegal to go on the road and spread that down the road. The same reason it is illegal for a tractor to go on the road and leave all that mud on the road, because it can be kicked up into other cars. So, while it's not that enforced here, luckily it rains a lot. We don't have that much of a problem. It washes off pretty quickly. That is actually illegal. You need to kick off that extra mud.
This is actually also why we all go clean our cars after we go to a dirt fish event with Avance. So, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because of this law.
This one, the Iowa one, was my favorite, but I could not find anything on it. Not a single thing on this one. It's Iowa, in Mount Vernon, Iowa, not Washington. It's illegal to throw a Red Ryder BB gun onto the highway.
I mean,
what? It is.
The only thing I could seriously think about, and my mind goes to the right place, is somebody that chucked it at a moving car. Kind of thing, like you ran out of beep. I don't know, like
why would you put something on the books like that? It's illegal to litter for one. It's illegal not to secure your load. It's illegal to assault another vehicle.
Yeah, but you look at these kids in the past that have thrown rocks over overpasses and things like that, and maybe it was a law where somebody threw something or shot somebody while they were driving with a Red Ryder BB gun, which can hurt. There's so many weird stuff on the law. I mean, it's just
fun one, Illinois. It's illegal to drive a car without a steering wheel.
Well, yeah. Duh.
Now, this law is one of the oldest ones on this list. It made me laugh. This is because they were trying to get rid of horseless carriages that were operated by levers, because they were in the way and they were a nuisance. So that's why that law exists. I had to look up to figure out what they were talking about. Like, well, I mean, I don't know how else you would drive a car, but that's what it came from. And
as far as Georgia goes, it's illegal to spit on a car or bus, but it's okay to spit from a truck. So I'm assuming what they mean is like if you're on the bus, riding the bus, not like if the bus is going by and you're going to spit on it. But I don't know. It's
weird.
There's a story behind everything, and these have been perpetuated, so there's some story behind it, even if it's not really a real law. But it's a fun list.
This one made me laugh. Idaho. Anyone over age 88 is forbidden to ride a motorcycle in Idaho Falls.
Have you ever been to Idaho Falls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the law.
Yeah. I'd imagine at some point somebody who was like 90 years old crashed their motorcycle into someone and probably injured them and probably killed themselves. And so they passed this law. It seems odd that they would say at 88. But
well, at 88 miles an hour, you go back to the future.
That's true.
So, I think this probably killed a lot of people in Connecticut. A fire engine should not exceed 25 miles an hour, even if it's on its way to a fire.
So this, I looked this one up as well. This is only specific to the town of New Britain, Connecticut. Okay. And I would imagine, probably as a colony state, they probably had very narrow roads in the area. And at some point, there was probably a very narrow spot. And so they were hitting pedestrians or something. Still seems odd.
Your house burned down because we couldn't get here fast enough. It's the law, ma'am.
Yeah. Another state where you can't hunt from your car. Too bad.
What would you like to hunt from there, Dan?
Right.
Yeah.
Hawaii one made me do some digging as well. It's against the law for any vehicle in motion to use its hazard lights. The reason is because in Hawaii, and like this is actually a pretty common law in many, many states across the U.S. I didn't realize this, and sometimes it's just in towns. It's because there's so few roads in Hawaii that if you block a road, whether you're going like 15 miles an hour with your hazard lights on, you're probably blocking 5 miles of traffic if you're like on Maui.
Yeah.
Where there's so few roads and there's no place to pass. So the rule is if you need your hazards, so you have to have them on because you're impeding the flow of traffic. You have to get off the road. And you have to be towed. But you can't block traffic because it's just way too much of a backup on a small place.
But don't do it in Arizona because it's against the law to drive a car in reverse on a public road. So make sure you plan your drives in Arizona because it's either a U-turn or.
Yeah, I don't normally associate Arizona with being a redneck state, but it seems like if you lost your forward gears and you only had reverse.
Yeah.
Like,
oh God, yeah.
I could totally see that in Florida, Georgia. Spokane.
You could.
Just messing with
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's more of a Yakima thing, really.
Yakima, Spokane Valley thing, but yeah.
But it just means you can't drive your car the direction of traffic in reverse on a public road.
Yeah, like they do in all the cool cop movies. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Dan and I were saying, we wanted something fun, kind of lighthearted. I figured it made us chuckle. Like when you sent it to me, I was reading through it and I was like. It's like, really? Like, I don't even, how does that even start? And then your mind kind of starts kicking in. You're like, okay, I could see how that might happen.
Yeah, it was just fun to go through these and kind of learn some of the history behind them.
Also, don't you dare drive while blindfolded in Alabama.
So this is top
Even
of the
if
list.
you're on a date with your sister.
Yeah, this one was disappointing because I was hoping there was some like funny story to go with this.
Yeah.
But this is one of those clickbait headlines where they took a law that was totally obvious and then was like, oh, you can have a blindfold on. Okay, you can't drive with an obstructed view. That's all there is to it. You can't have something so big in your car that you can't see through it at your windshield. So blindfold is not even in the law. You just can't drive with an obstructed view, nor can your passenger obstruct your view. So
that being said, and I want to transition quickly to this, if you have Amazon Prime, you need to go on and watch the new episode of the Grand Tour in Scotland. Speaking of obstructed views, it is by far one of the funniest things they've ever done. I was really loving it because they beat the crap out of a PT Cruiser, and they figured out it was probably one of the worst pieces of crap to come out of America. And anybody that drives them, they're just
totally,
you know who you are. It was a trend that we got away from. Oh, I'm back. I'm back.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Jolene. It's been a while.
We know. Yeah, I was laughing because I was thinking about it because they watch it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's really funny. It's
really
great
good
to see those guys together again, and they did a great job. And I did not. It was Lockdown. It was called Lockdown.
LOCH.
Yeah, like the
Lockdown.
Scottish locks.
Yeah. It was a PT Cruiser, it
was a Rush. No, it was a PT Cruiser,
an Aztec,
Pontiac Aztec, and a Chrysler minivan.
Yeah.
Which was interesting because the PT Cruiser and the Chrysler minivan are right-hand drive. So they even though they were supposedly American cars, they were. Yeah, my mom noticed that. She's like, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. I'm like, not for where they're driving. So, yeah.
Yeah, I did enjoy the PT Cruiser road trip photos. Actually,
oh yeah,
they did some cool stuff.
Yeah,
they did tell me they took my route.
No.
Matt and Jolene, longtime listeners and friends, exotic thugs.
Unfortunately, I don't think the PT Cruiser made it home.
No, they took my route through Hell's Canyon though. Yeah, which again is one of my favorite runs. It's pretty rough. It'll definitely test your nerves going through there. It's probably more so in a PT Cruiser.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, they're passionate PT Cruiser love, but unfortunately, I think something minor broke. But I think the car's on its way back here if it's not back already. So,
seriously, I am sorry to hear that. I do like people who drive different things. So
it's all fun and games when you're making fun of it breaking down, but when it actually breaks down, it's
did you see the photos? Speaking of switching this up from Stance Wars,
I did not.
Yeah,
good, bad, ugly.
Oh, it's always the mix. I mean, that's kind of half the fun of the show, though.
I think we saw somebody that must have come from Stance Wars when they were in a Scion, and the wheels were so far out, like he was literally running on the inside rim, and I don't get that. I will never understand that trend, like driving like that. It's not appealing to me when it's sitting there, but I don't understand you try to find some type of logic behind it. Like, I'd like to buy $1,000 worth of tires and only use 10% of them. Yeah,
it's so like I was commenting on it the other day because Pat, one of my friends, Pat Newton, tagged me in it. And he was a bunch of photos and that they posted in advance actually, and it's so much cringe at stance wars, but it's also, you see some of the most unique stuff too, and not just the cringe
they're
stuff.
still automotive lovers. I mean, and just because I don't get it doesn't mean it. I mean, it's, yeah.
I love to make fun of them, but at the same time, I love a different show. I love seeing something different out there. I love stuff that's just not the norm, and we always say we're jaded with this, especially from Drivers Club, looking out the window and seeing a LaFerrari every day and 10 GT2 RSs and God knows how many Ferraris and everything else. Like that's very common.
Yeah.
Luckily where we're at, and we are fortunate for that. So it's cool to see something totally out there though, and I do appreciate that kind of work.
I always feel like I could make a good amount of money outside one of those things, like selling bumpers and oil pans and some exhaust. So.
I'm surprised the skid plate market hasn't taken off for cars.
Right? I mean, I don't understand it. Doesn't mean I don't get that they're still automotive lovers, and they, but I'll say this: if you own a stanced car and would like to explain it to us, we'd be glad to listen to you and why you do that and why.
Yeah. We'll make fun of you, but you can make fun of us too.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, we'll be there. Yeah. So, yeah.
We've earned that.
Pretty much. So,
it's cool to see that though.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll talk a little more about Avance. We'll be right back.
Grandpa, what do you call this thing again?
It's a 66 Ford Bronco.
I think you got ripped off.
Why is that, honey?
It's got no Wi-Fi, no USB port, no Bluetooth.
Exactly. I guess we'll just have to talk.
Sometimes the best way to connect is to disconnect.
Is that the window button?
It's called a window crank.
Cool. The faster I move it, the faster it goes down.
This moment of escape was created by Haggerty.
Being old is kind of cool, Grandpa.
Works for me.
For people who love cars.
And we're back. Lots of Avance coming up.
Yeah, I mean it's getting. This is going to be a busy few months. Like I was going through my calendar.
I got a lot on the calendar.
Trying to schedule stuff, and I'm like, okay. So, first of all, what do we got? The first event coming up, I think, is the
Taste of Motorsports.
Taste of Motorsports 2021. It's August 29th from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m.
This is at PIR, Portland International Raceway. Chris Munch, friend, listener, you need to go to that. This is going to be a cool event. Avance members get 15% off tickets with the promo code Avance.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be a cool event. So, and if you haven't seen some of the Portland stuff, they got some damn nice cars in Portland. They just hide them a little better.
Yeah, well,
which
I don't know why. I don't know why, but yeah.
Next after that, Avance Track Day at the Ridge.
September 3rd from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yep, that's with Turn 2. Shout out to Michelle. Been loving your progress, by the way. Previous guest, and she's been living at the track lately, and she had a really nice fast lap the other day I was watching. Cool to see the progress.
We're so proud of her.
We are.
That's what happens after you come onto our show. Your driving career just takes off. I mean, ours hasn't, but apparently that's what happens when you come on.
Except for Gaurav. He got married, and I haven't seen a lot of track day photos from him.
Yeah. That's because he's at home in his garage playing with his tool.
That's right. Yeah. Have you seen his woodworking, though?
The way he works with his wood tool?
It's really impressive. He's good with the wood.
I will say that, yes.
He made a table, a bench.
He knows how to work wood. Everybody knows that.
He went, like, big-time homeowner mode.
He did.
He laid his own concrete for his generator and the AC. Like, I'm like, holy crap, dude.
So it's crooked? It's supposed to lean to the right. It helps the gas drain into the intake. Yeah.
No, I had to keep telling him, like, dude, you need to get a truck for one. Like, sell the wife's SUV, get yourselves a nice truck because you guys need one, but also get back to the track. I miss seeing your photos.
I'm not going to lie. There are days that Gaurav is 100% more American than I am. Like, he's driving around in a bright yellow Corvette. He's got every power tool.
Oh, yeah. My car needs to be revoked.
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he wins the Best American Award. So, yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
Griot's Garage Caffeine and Gasoline. That is September 4th from 8 to 10.
Those are a lot of fun. If you haven't been down to Griot's, it's always great. They always have a lot of cars on display. Great place to pick up any Griot's products.
RCS 10.
I think it works in person,
too. It does work in person.
Yeah.
RCS 10, 10% off at Griot's. And it's Italian Day, so that will be, there's going to be some good stuff at Italian Day at Griot's.
Yeah.
Like,
one we're really excited to be a part of is Dirtfish Summerfest, which is September 12th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to be out there. We're going to be giving away some RCS swag, which is, as you know, hard to get.
It is. It is only available.
Some of us don't even have it.
Yeah, most of it is only available in person, and we have some cool stuff. We've got stickers and T-shirts and sweatshirts and stuff like that. Limited supply, though.
Yeah, and then Radwood is coming back to the Pacific Northwest September 19th from 11 to 4 p.m. And if you didn't, I went 2 years ago. We had so much fun.
Again, at Dirtfish.
At Dirtfish. Yeah, it is going to be so much fun. Go drag out all of your 80s clothes, all your neon, all your hammer pants.
I think it's all back anyway.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
mullets.
It's not hard to find that stuff. So yeah. But it is at Dirtfish. So you'll be able to hear it from your house, Dan. We'll probably be there.
But, I'll be there.
I was like, can I wear the same outfit that I wore last time?
Well, I'm deciding if I ride the skateboard down or the monkey.
The monkey is very classic 80s. So
it's like classic 60s, really.
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna start my. I found a great MTV shirt for the last time, and I got the pants that looked like the Dixie cups, and so gonna be there. But
there's a bunch of other stuff coming from the Avance. Avance.com/ I think it's just events, but the one that always gets me, not the Dino Day at Carb Connection, the thumbnail is a white C7 Z06, and it's not mine, but it's like the exact same spec mine was, and I miss my car every time I see this event.
You are right. I did not notice that.
Yeah. I keep thinking it's mine. It's not. The license plate isn't mine. But
yeah,
I saw another one. I still have like alerts up for C7 Z06s just to see what's out there, and I don't regret selling mine because I had 47,000 miles on it when I sold it in a year and a half.
It's still local, isn't it?
Yeah. Assuming it's still alive. Yeah. You never know with a car like that.
True.
To be honest,
it did want to kill you actively.
Yeah.
So.
Which was half the fun. I do miss that.
Yeah.
I miss road trips right now. I mean, not that I have any time for them with everything going on, but I'm looking forward to getting back into that next year, assuming things stop catching on fire, because
they won't.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It is extremely unfortunate, but they won't. Especially, I mean, I did not realize the extent after being down in California of that fire and how it had been set by that crazy professor or whatever. They basically said that they traced his GPS to all these locations and was setting that fire.
Yeah, I don't think that's been convicted yet. But
no. They just
they did.
I don't know they've convicted him yet. I know I think they have him.
Oh, okay.
I thought
so they did. That's not just an internet theory thing. I was still wondering.
From what I had heard it from multiple sources that weren't internet. So I mean, I will say allegedly to cover our base, but it's.
I never know anymore.
Well, I remember we had a long conversation about when we were joking about if you're going to go do something nefarious, turn off your car's GPS, turn off your phone's GPS. Like they're going just because you think nobody knows you're there, but. Also, make sure you warn the if you come into the town, make sure you call the sheriff and tell him you're coming in to do nefarious things. So
follow the law.
Absolutely,
when
follow
the law.
Follow the law when you're about to break the law. So yeah.
The funny thing is somebody's done it.
Of course.
Actually, I think I've heard tapes of that. Like, if you ever people get the funniest ones when they call 911 and they're really stoned and they're scared because they're really stoned and they tell them they don't know where their drugs are or someone stole their drugs. Like they called 911 to say someone stole their meth.
Pizza guy robbed me. Yeah. Yeah,
I love those.
Well, I mean, but you got to think back in the day, and I think there was a couple of comedians that made jokes of this, like the Bonnie and Clyde day. Like, it was a thing. You'd come into town, you'd yell like, it's Bonnie and Clyde, and we're here to rob this place, and you'd write your name in bullets on the side of the bank. I mean, there wasn't any like mystery of like who robbed the bank. So, because you hope the lawmen were 3 counties back,
right?
So yeah,
and then Heat came out.
Yep,
we saw how that ended.
Yeah, not well.
Great movie though.
Yeah. Oh, awesome movie. Yeah. I haven't seen a real good movie in a long time.
No.
I watched the Snake Eyes movie trying to get some of my childhood back, which wasn't bad, but it just was not good. So
that was one of those we're just going to go off topic. Who cares? Amazing choreography, amazing fight scenes. I love the actors in that movie. So the guy who played Storm Shadow, he's in the show Warrior. That dude is awesome and like badass in real life too. Like those guys knew their stuff. Probably some of the best stunts I've ever seen.
I love
Terrible
that
movie.
when he comes out in all the white, and I'm like, oh, that dude's going to be Storm Shadow someday.
I was like, Storm Shadow.
Exactly. As a child of the 80s, so.
Yeah, I keep trying to find like a really good car movie. And
Ford versus Ferrari. That's the best thing that's come out in the last several years. I mean, unless you really want, Fast 9 was probably one of the best ones. I mean, especially when they're in space with a Fiero. So yeah.
That's again one of those things. It's not. Yeah, it's not about car
cars.
Movie.
It's about family, Dan.
About
Don't
family.
you listen to Dominic Toretto? Jeez, it's all about the family, or whatever it is. So.
I miss car movies.
I mean,
I'm old.
Like I said,
get off my lawn.
The real car, like the Ford versus Ferrari, was the last good car movie. That and what was the one about Niki Lauda and?
Is it Faster?
No, Driven or
Driven.
Driven? No,
Drive?
That's not Drive. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, so awesome movie though. So yeah.
I'm out of caffeine and it's late.
That's okay. Well, we can wrap this up then. So we hope you enjoyed our little fun facts. We'll be back next week with a really exciting guest that we're looking forward to having on the show.
Really good guest for you guys coming next week and more on the way. So
yeah. But for this episode of Rain City Supercars, I'm Nick.
I'm Dan, and don't just get there. Enjoy the drive.